I love understanding people. And I think that's what's got me into the diversion from my pharmacy role in making a mindfulness diary for children. Because I've worked in community, I've worked in hospital, I've worked in general practice, and the overriding thing that really affects how a person behaves with their medication, their condition, in any aspect of their life is their mental health. And mental health has to be at the centre of everything of that we do with the patient. And if we dismiss that fact, we'll never get the best out of that patient. And I love the mental health. I love consulting patients about their mental health because I feel I can offer them an empathetic ear. I can really help them in understanding that the medication is not everything. And as a pharmacist, we may be there to advise about medication, but we can advise so much more. And my love of mindfulness and exploring different ways of growing yourself, your mind, and it allows me to help those patients. But what I've realised is through the pandemic is that there's a crisis, and there's just not that many services that can see patients in a timely manner. And it's very sad because patients need help here and now, but the help's not there in the timescale that they need. And I feel that that's why my thought process went on to thinking about children. And whilst we can try and help the adults and young children who are in the services now, we need to make a better choice for the children that are going to be our next generation. We need to make more of a proactive change towards the way we speak to our children and how we integrate mental health and mindfulness and making the right choices for your health and well-being with our young children. And that's what got me into thinking that I want to make a mindfulness diary for children, just so that we don't sort of think that children are too young to explore these things. We need to explore these sorts of things like mindfulness and being present in the moment and looking after what's right for you with a young child, because if we explore that now, their mental health and well-being will be better for the future. If we can instill these positive techniques into our children at a young age, they'll just get used to it and think, right, well, what's best for me? How am I going to see the positive? How am I going to make the best decision for me rather than for everyone else, and getting overwhelmed and getting sucked into the rat race of life? Because there's just so much stimulation in our world. We wake up, there's a notification on our phone, we watch the news, it's upsetting. We go on our way, on our job, on to the school run, and there's just so much stimulation there, and it's overwhelming. And sometimes I know quite a lot of the times we don't know how to block that out to focus on ourselves. And the pandemic made me realise that stillness, whilst I felt quite lost in it, because I felt like, oh, there's nothing for me. What have I actually got that's mine? Apart from being a pharmacist and being a mum and a wife, which I'm all happy about, but what's there that I've done for myself? And there wasn't anything there. And that stillness allowed me to see what do I love? What are my passions? And it allowed me to go on this journey which fulfills me, which makes me feel so much happier. And I've realised that our mental health can be improved by just taking a step back, by just listening to our inner voice and seeing what we need. But because there's so much stimulation out there, we never get that time, and we don't give ourselves that time. And I don't want my children to be sucked into that, because when they're adults, there'll be so much more technology, so much more to keep up with. And I don't want that for them. I want them to have that stillness and allow themselves to have that stillness as they grow up.